The head trauma definitely contributed to the death. The force of the blows resulted in significant cerebral hemorrhaging. Mr. Castle, nice to see you again.
Wish I could say the same, but my glasses are all scratchy. How often do they let you replace these?
Not everybody has your budget, Castle. So what killed her?
I'd say she was struck in the head with the bleach bottle, then fell forward, hit her temple on the edge of the table. That caused temporal bleeding. Without medical attention, she didn't stand a chance.
But what I thought you might find really interesting is the fact that she had sex within the hours before her death.
Sex?
I'll explain how that works later.
Might even been within a few minutes of the murder. The heat from the dryer makes it hard to pinpoint.
So you're saying she was raped?
Hard to determine. There were no vaginal lacerations or presence of any semen.
So what's the evidence of sex?
Traces of spermicide. The guy wore a condom.
Boy, it really has been a long time for you, hasn't it?
Hey. Damn, girl, you scared me.
Lainey, you're surrounded by corpses.
Yeah, I don't expect the living after 7 o'clock.
Funny, neither do I.
I'm an ME. What's your excuse?
Oh, don't be mean.
You deserve it. Getting a drink with me after work instead of getting your freak on with Writer Boy?
Yeah, well, he is annoying, self-centered, egotistical, and completely...
Fun. And take it from me, girlfriend, you need some fun. I mean, how bad can he be?
Beckett.
Guess who's got a date with a prostitute?
I found traces of metal in the abrasions on Sophie's back.
What kind of metal?
I have no idea, but I sent a sample over to the FBI lab to see if they can narrow down the chemical signature. We should have the results tomorrow.
If I find the object that made the wounds, you'll be able to match it?
Absolutely.
Great. Anything else?
You tell me.
What?
Don't what me. Castle's lost love.
Yeah, what about it?
Girl, I'm gonna smack you. You work side by side every day. He writes a sex scene in his book about you that had me reaching for ice water. Now little Miss Bride shows up. Don't tell me you're not the least bit jealous.
Oh, please. You've been inhaling too many autopsy fluids.
Honey, just because you can't see what's going on doesn't mean everyone else doesn't see what's going on.
Shut up!
Because I see it.
I have no life.
No, Mr. Bishop has no life. That's why he's on my table.
I need a date.
What?
A date. A guy. A man. You're always trying to set me up with people, so here I am. I'm game. What do you got?
Okay, what's gotten into you?
I get so wrapped up in work. All I want to do is go home where it's quiet, and I'm so tired of quiet. I want loud.
Okay. I have the perfect prescription for you.
A Bradiker?
No, baby. That's Brad Deckard. That firefighter I wanted to set you up with.
Is he cute?
He was Mr. July in last year's New York firefighters calendar.
July, huh?
Mm-hmm.
They always put the really hot ones in the summer months.
Heard you two were making pancakes when the body dropped.
Nothing happened.
Right.
So what do you got?
Letters on the slugs. B-U-R.
Burn. Nikki will burn.
Well, that's chilling.
Our victim's fingerprints aren't in the system. Do you have anything that can ID her?
Well, I found formaldehyde on her.
Yeah, that's from the killer. He left it at the other scenes as well.
Not traces. It was under her fingernails and her hair. She worked with embalming fluid. I also found traces of clay, polyurethane, and animal blood. I don't know who she is, but I can tell you what she does.
She's a taxidermist.
So cute the way you two do that.
You know how many strings I had to pull for this castle?
If I'm wrong, I'll reimburse the city.
To hell with the city. It's me you're gonna owe. I take spa certificates, jewelry, and cash.
Duly noted. What's that?
The contents of Bobby Mann's pockets when he was brought in. I'm gonna go check on the labs.
Okay. What are you doing?
It's called investigating. You should try it.
I usually wait until there's a crime.
Cell phone, money clip. He stuck a piece of gum to a paper before he put it in his pocket.
One of his last acts was not littering.
Yes, but there's a word on this paper. Tori. Could be a mystery woman.
Wow, Castle, cracking this case wide open.
Hey, it's his idea notepad. This is a joke from last night. Charity golf. First time he's pulled out in years.
Do you realize that you are now investigating a heart attack? What?
His signature line of 20 years, the boys will be back on duty tomorrow night. Looks like he was thinking of changing it.
The crew will be back on duty tomorrow night.
Maybe he's trying to make it hipper. We should have a signature line. She's armed, he's dangerous. No, how about a whole new chapter in crime solving?
Oh.
Chapter, get it?
No.
Okay, I ran every extra tox screen outside of standard protocol. All negative, no trace of any known poisonous substance.
That was quick.
911 has that effect on her.
What'd you find?
I pulled all the files on all his past murders, just like you asked.
I believe that was my idea.
Yeah, but only listen when it comes from her.
Anyway, you were saying?
He choked them using a 3-strand twisted 1/4-inch rope. Based on the fibers found embedded in the skin, we know that the rope was green and white nylon.
I don't remember that.
Those details were never made public. Now check this out.
The marks are identical.
I found the exact same green and white fibers.
It is him. The triple killer is back.
He's not that handsome. You want my opinion? $300 an hour? A little steep.
As the person in this room that's seen everything under the sheet, bargain.
What else did you find?
Take a look.
A hair?
Your Vic has hair that's been recently dyed gray. Looks like temporary hair dye that hasn't completely washed out yet.
Well, most men color their hair to cover the gray.
Well, some women want Officer McNaughty, and some want an older guy who knows mutual funds. You know, daddy issues.
It's more likely he was coloring it for an audition.
Speaking of hair, this is the more important hair that I found on your Vic's clothing. That could belong to our killer.
Long blonde hair. This could have come from one of the women at the bachelorette party.
That's what I thought until I had it tested. Came back positive for testosterone and anabolic steroids. Your blondie is a man.
I thought you said Zach wasn't using steroids.
The tests wouldn't pick up stuff like this.
Why not?
It's loaded with masking agents and designed to beat the tests. Virtually untraceable unless you look for it specifically.
So he was using.
Nope. I went back and tested for this too. Your boy is steroid free.
Well, if he wasn't using steroids, then what was he doing with them?
Virtually undetectable. Where does a drug like that come from?
There's been some talk about a new beat-the-test performance-enhancing drug being developed somewhere in Eastern Europe.
Eastern Europe. Home of the hard-to-identify accent.
Javi?
What?
I can feel your impatience all over my backside, and rushing me is never a good idea.
You're talking about that print, right?
Michael Bailey was poisoned with a lethal dose of colchicine. He was dead before he hit the fruit.
Colchicine, isn't that a drug for rheumatism?
Yes, which Bailey does not have, but he had 50 times the normal dosage in his system. I'm putting the time of ingestion between 4 and 6 p.m.
Which is 45 minutes before Holly said she met him at Wilmer's bar.
Any idea how that drug was delivered?
It was in something he drank. I found lots of whey protein isolate in his stomach, along with chocolate.
So a chocolate protein shake.
It'd be sweet enough to mask the taste of the drug.
Speaking of sweet, who should date for Ryan's wedding? Take a shot.
All right, thanks, Lainey.
One more thing. I ran a DNA test just to confirm that Superman here had sex before dying.
No, it's okay. Our suspect.
Let me finish. The test shows he had sex all right with 2 different women within hours of his death.
You dog. That's impossible. How could they get a court order that fast?
I don't know. Maybe you should ask your girlfriend.
Girlfriend?
Yes, okay, we slept together. It was a long time ago. What's the big deal?
There is no big deal. Sleep with whoever you want. The more, the merrier.
I have those, toxicology reports you wanted?
Oh, yes, just set them there, sweetie. Thank you.
Based on my reading of the coroner's report, I can see why Graham Morton's death was ruled natural causes. However...
Ooh, there's a however.
A very big however. Tell him.
There were some anomalies I found suspicious. Evidence of petechiae in both eyes, fresh bruising on the right side of Mr. Morton's nose, which could have happened if, say, someone was holding a pillow over his face. All in all, I think there's ample evidence that Mr. Morton was murdered.
Ample? Murdered. I am just so proud.
Dad, work. Boundaries.
Right.
One more thing. When I requested the file be sent over, the clerk told me that I was the second person this week to ask for it. Odette Morton was there on Tuesday.
So Barbara realized Odette's grandfather was murdered and must have thought Carson the butler had something to do with it.
And then when Carson figured out that Barbara knew too much, he killed her. We're gonna bring him in first thing in the morning.
And arrest him for a double murder.
Look, maybe it's the wrong time. Or maybe he's even the wrong guy, but if he is, how long are you gonna wait to find out? "10 years, I've been keeping them company while they spend a night or two here on their way to where we're all going. They all had plans, Kate. Things they were gonna do when they got around to it. Go on a cruise, lose 10 pounds, fall in love. They thought they had all the time in the world, but nobody does.
What I can tell you is his teeth match the bite marks and the blood on his clothes came from the victim. Kyle Jennings is your killer.
Well, the question is, who killed him?
Isn't that always the question?
Yes.
What is it, Cass?
No, I was just wondering. Before this man died, he was behaving exactly like a zombie. Is there any medical way to determine if he actually was one?
Why is he in my morgue? There are no zombies, Castle. This is a man. He was a live man. Now he's a dead man. End of story.
He's on tape!
Castle, call for backup!
How do I?
Nine.
Is there a police code for zombie on the loose?
It wasn't a mugging.
How can you tell?
Blood spatter on her blouse indicates the shirt was ripped after the gunshot.
And what about the bruising?
Post-mortem.
To make it look like a mugging.
Someone's trying to cover their tracks. Speaking of which, I figured out what's different. You're having sex.
Excuse me?
Oh, don't try to deny it. There's a glow. I know that glow. So, who's the guy?
Yeah, Beckett, who's the guy?
Nobody that you would know, okay?
Are you sure? I know a lot of guys.
I'm sure. Anything else?
As a matter of fact, I found makeup on Mandy's blouse that's much lighter than the shade that she wears. The position indicates close contact, like she fought with someone.
Rounding up all the women in the city who wear lighter makeup is a pretty wide net.
It isn't just any makeup. It's formulated for high-definition cameras.
Like the ones they use at TV stations.
Beckett's boyfriend, don't you two have something better to do?
Actually, no.
I figure Beckett must have started up with the guy during her suspension.
Pretty emotional time for her. Bet she needed a shoulder to lean on.
An ex.
It would explain why she's too embarrassed to tell us who it is. Makes her look weak.
We're thinking the most likely scenario is that it was the last guy that she was with.
Dr. Joshua Davidson. It's him, isn't it?
Okay, I get that you don't have a life hobby, but you're married, Kevin, so what's your excuse? Whoever Beckett's boyfriend is none of your business.
Come on, lady. You must know who it is. She went back to Josh, didn't she?
Is this how you interrogate people? Because you ain't doing nothing but pissing me off. Now, I don't know who it is, and I respect Beckett's privacy, but I do know it's not Josh, because he's been in the Amazon setting up free clinics for the last year.
Are you sure about that? I think she's sure.
Hey, Castle. Yeah, I'm gonna put you on speakerphone so you can weigh in on this.
Weigh in on what?
Well, we're in the morgue with Lainey trying to figure out who Beckett's boyfriend is.
I have nothing to do with this nonsense.
I'm sorry, you just came all the way down here to give me this.
Yeah, I mean, you told me to keep you posted. You did say that, right?
You know what? Castle and I are gonna go and check out the place and see what there is to see.
Javi, since when did you start wearing cologne to work?
Oh, you know, well, it's the holidays, and I've got places to be, people to see. How about you?
Okay, I see where this is going. I'm gonna stop you right there. I already have plans for Christmas Eve. I'm hanging out with my girlfriends.
Oh, that's cool. Maybe afterwards you and I can...
Javi, let's not be one of those sad, desperate holiday hookups. But when all this dies down, if you still want to get together, just give me a call.